The morning sun stretched its golden fingers across the quiet suburban street, glinting off the dewy leaves and casting long, soft shadows across the sidewalks. Hannah Miller's wheelchair wheels hummed softly against the pavement as she rolled herself forward, her hands moving with practiced rhythm. She had grown adept at navigating the uneven sidewalks and curbs of her neighborhood. Her world narrowed to the tactile feedback from her hands and the sight of the street ahead. But every day, even with careful maneuvering, carried the latent threat of humiliation, of someone deciding to remind her of her limitations. That morning, the air was crisp, scented faintly with the earthy aroma of fallen leaves and the subtle tang of exhaust from the few cars passing by. Hannah tried to focus on these little details, on the warmth of the sun brushing her arms, on the distant trill of birds and the oak trees lining the avenue. But there was always a gnawing unease in her stomach, a premonition that luck, as it often had, would abandon her. Her thoughts drifted back to the accident, one that had changed her life in an instant. She had been 16 then, a girl who ran freely, laughing, playing basketball with friends, never thinking about how fragile the human body could be. One split-second error, one sharp swerve on an icy road, and her legs no longer obeyed her commands. Therapy had been grueling, pain had been constant, and through it all, she had carried the invisible weight of needing to prove she was still capable, that life could still be meaningful, that she was not broken. And yet, despite all the determination she carried like armor, there were people like Brad Thompson, people who thrived on cruelty and laughter at another's expense, people who couldn't bear to witness someone rise, someone survive, someone endure without bending under the pressure of their scorn. Hannah's eyes scanned the sidewalk as she approached the bus stop. Her pulse quickened slightly at the thought of seeing him, Brad, in his bright varsity jacket, striding confidently along the street as if the world itself bent to his whims. Today, she dared to hope that maybe he wouldn't show up. Maybe she could have a moment of quiet, a moment to simply exist without being reminded of what she had lost. But hope, Hannah had learned, was a delicate and unreliable companion. There he was, Brad Thompson, chest puffed out, swagger exaggerated, eyes glinting with the promise of mischief. Two of his friends followed behind, laughing quietly, nudging each other as if sharing a secret joke at someone else's expense. Hannah tried to maneuver herself slightly off the path, her movements smooth, almost invisible. She kept her gaze forward, pretending not to notice them. But Brad did notice. He always noticed. And he never passed up the opportunity to assert his dominance, to feed his appetite for humiliation. He stopped directly in front of her, blocking her path, leaning just enough that she felt trapped. Then, with sudden, deliberate force, he shoved his foot against the side of her wheelchair. The world tilted violently. Hannah's arms flailed as she tried to regain balance. But physics was merciless. Metal screeched against concrete. The sharp, wet crack of tires and wheels against the pavement filled her ears, followed immediately by the thud of her body hitting the ground. Pain lanced through her shoulder, radiating down her arms and twisting her torso painfully. A gasp tore from her throat, mingling with the sting of humiliation, and tears blurred her vision. Brad laughed. The sound was cruel and sharp, a knife twisted in the wound of her pride. "Oops, did I do that?" he sneered, voice dripping with mockery. His friends giggled behind him, echoing the malevolent delight of the moment. Hannah wanted to disappear, to sink into the pavement and vanish from the world's view. She hated crying in public, hated showing vulnerability, hated giving them the satisfaction. But the tears wouldn't wait. They rolled down her cheeks anyway. Then, from a distance, a sound began to rise, a vibration in the air, soft at first, almost imperceptible. Dot, dot. A low rumble that made the hair on the back of her neck stand on end. A distant rolling growl that gradually grew louder. The sound of dozens of motorcycles, engines revving in unison, thunderous and commanding, sweeping closer like an unstoppable wave. Brad's laughter faltered. His friends exchanged uncertain glances, their mirth dissolving into confusion. Hannah lifted her head, her breath catching in her throat as she saw them. A line of sleek, black motorcycles, engine lights glinting, rolling down the street in formation. One row, two rows, a perfect stagger parade of machines that looked impossibly coordinated. The number of bikers seemed endless. Not 10, not 20, nearly 100. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but from the sudden surge of hope, of awe. The street itself seemed to tremble under the thunder of their engines, as if the earth recognized the justice that was arriving. Brad stepped back, his bravado faltering. Uncertainty flickered across his face for the first time that morning. His voice, once sharp and mocking, caught in his throat. He opened his mouth, closed it, and stared, suddenly small and insignificant beneath the gaze of so many. The motorcycles slowed as they reached the bus stop, forming a protective semicircle around Hannah. Engines idled with a deep, rumbling growl, the sound vibrating in her chest, asserting their dominance not with words but presence alone. The biker silhouettes were imposing, yet their eyes remained on her, not on the boy who had tormented her. At the forefront, a tall man, broad-shouldered and scarred across his cheek, dismounted. His gaze held a storm of experience, a lifetime of trials etched into the lines of his face. Yet there was a warmth, a carefulness in his eyes that contradicted his fearsome appearance. One by one, the other bikers followed his lead, killing their engines, leaving only a tense silence hanging over the street like a tangible force. The leader stepped toward Hannah, boots heavy and deliberate on the concrete. Kneeling, he reached for her wheelchair, lifting it upright with gentle precision, helping her settle into it as though she were the most precious thing in the world. His hands were rough, callous from years of labor, yet they handled her with tender care. Hannah's chest swelled with an unfamiliar sense of security. For the first time in months, maybe longer, she felt protected, truly safe. Around her, 99 bikers stood as a wall of unspoken support, their presence a living shield against cruelty. Brad's attempts at speech died in his throat. Words of mockery, excuses, threats, all meaningless under the weight of so many eyes. He was reduced to a pale, trembling figure, dwarfed by the sheer gravity of kindness and justice standing before him. The leader didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He simply asked softly if she was hurt, if she needed help, if they should call someone. His voice carried reassurance, a gentle command that demanded nothing but offered everything. And in that moment, Hannah realized something profound. She wasn't alone. She hadn't been alone, not really, even when she thought the world had abandoned her. The bikers remained until the bus arrived. Each one moved with care, helping her board, ensuring she was safe, comfortable, and secure. The driver looked on, bewildered by the massive contingent, but understanding dawned when he heard the story. As the bus pulled away, the leader nodded at her, a gesture heavy with meaning. You are not alone. You matter. Don't ever forget that. Hannah's eyes followed the line of motorcycles as they departed, engines fading into the distance, leaving a reverent silence in their wake. Something inside her had shifted irrevocably. She had survived, yes, but more than survival, she had been transformed. She had witnessed a thunderous act of kindness, a collective force standing for what was right, and it had changed her perception of the world and of herself forever. As the bus doors closed and the vehicle rumbled down the street, Hannah sat quietly, her hands resting on the wheelchair armrests, feeling the subtle vibrations from the engine beneath her. She had replayed the morning's events in her mind countless times already, and each replay brought a swell of emotion that she struggled to contain. Shock, relief, gratitude, and a new sense of self that she hadn't felt since before the accident. Her classmates at school looked at her with curiosity that morning. Some whispered. Others stared openly, but Hannah no longer felt the familiar tight knot of anxiety in her stomach. She had the memory of those 99 bikers etched into her consciousness. Their solidarity, their unspoken message, their unrelenting refusal to let cruelty go unchecked. And with that memory came an unexpected empowerment. When she rolled into her first class, her friends waved, unaware of what had just happened. But Hannah greeted them with a small smile that carried newfound confidence. She didn't need to explain. She didn't need validation. The knowledge of what she had experienced, the awareness of her own resilience, was enough. Over the following days, Brad Thompson avoided her, not intentionally, perhaps, but the memory of the motorcycles, the growl of engines, the aura of protection, seemed to haunt him more than it had ever haunted her. It was as if the universe itself had decided to correct a small injustice, sending a reminder that cruelty does not go unchallenged. Hannah, meanwhile, felt lighter, freer, as though a weight she had carried unknowingly for months had lifted from her chest. The experience sparked a subtle but profound change in her daily life. She began joining clubs she had once been too nervous to try. She attended the debate club, where she found her voice and discovered that her opinions mattered. She joined the art club, painting and creating pieces that expressed feelings she had long buried under layers of caution and self-preservation. Slowly, she began making friends, forming connections based on respect and kindness rather than fear or pity. At home, her parents noticed a transformation too. Dinner conversations, once strained and cautious, now bubbled with her laughter. She spoke openly about school, her passions, and the small victories she achieved each day. The accident, once a defining event of her life, no longer felt like a prison. Instead, it became a part of her story, a chapter that had tested her, but one she had survived and thrived through. One afternoon, as she rolled herself to the neighborhood park, she saw a group of younger kids playing soccer. One of them tripped and fell, scraping his knee. Instinctively, she wheeled over to help, offering comfort and a bandage from her backpack. She saw gratitude in the child's eyes, and it reminded her of the warmth she had felt when the bikers had protected her. The act of kindness, she realized, was a circle, one good deed inspiring another, spreading outward in ways she had never imagined. Months passed, and the memory of the morning attack faded from the immediate forefront of her mind, replaced by everyday joys and challenges. Yet, when fear crept back, whether in the form of self-doubt, a difficult assignment, or an unkind word, she recalled the thunder of engines and the wall of riders standing for her. That memory became a talisman, a reminder that courage is often unseen, but always within reach. Brad never confronted her again. He avoided the buses, the hallways, and her path entirely, perhaps deterred by the invisible presence of those who had once stood for her, or perhaps by the simple realization that true strength was not in intimidation, but in character. And though she never sought revenge or satisfaction from him, Hannah found a quiet sense of triumph in her own growth. She had discovered that power lies not in making others small, but in standing tall when others attempt to push you down. Her senior year arrived, and with it came a sense of achievement and anticipation. Hannah had applied to colleges, written essays about resilience and community, and received acceptance letters from several institutions that valued her determination and perspective. She became a mentor to younger students who were newly navigating the world with disabilities, sharing her experiences and encouraging them to embrace life fully. Her story became one not of tragedy, but of perseverance, empowerment, and unexpected heroism. The bikers themselves became a quiet legend in the neighborhood. Children told tales of the day the engines roared like thunder, and a wall of riders appeared to defend a girl in need. Hannah never sought to find them again, yet she often imagined them riding through the streets, carrying their quiet code of honor and protection, ready to intervene wherever injustice might arise. She carried that image as a source of inspiration, a reminder that the world can hold remarkable goodness, sometimes in the most unexpected forms. Years later, Hannah reflected on the event as she prepared to graduate. Sitting in her wheelchair at the edge of the ceremony stage, she thought about the accident, Brad's cruelty, and the extraordinary kindness that had followed. She realized that she hadn't just survived that day. She had transformed. The morning that had begun in pain and humiliation had ended in revelation. A revelation that life's challenges could be met with courage, that kindness could arrive like thunder, unstoppable and profound, and that she, too, could embody that power. The lessons she had learned became her guiding principles. She chose to be the person who intervened when she saw someone bullied. She became the advocate for students with disabilities, ensuring their voices were heard and respected. And she carried forward the memory of those 99 bikers who had shown her that heroism doesn't always wear a cape. It sometimes rides in leather jackets, engines roaring, arriving exactly when it is needed most. Even in her adult life, when challenges and hardships arose, Hannah remembered that day. She remembered the fear, the pain, and the sudden, overwhelming wave of protection that had altered the course of her life. That memory grounded her, gave her strength, and reminded her of the simple yet profound truth. Cruelty can be challenged, kindness can prevail, And the world, though often unfair, can be a place of extraordinary goodness when people choose to stand up for what is right. Hannah had not just survived, she had thrived. And in thriving, she carried a message forward, touching the lives of others with the same courage and compassion she had once received. The sound of engines, the memory of a wall of bikers standing for her, remained forever etched in her mind, a symbol of hope, of solidarity, and of the unexpected heroes who sometimes arrive just when you need them most. And so, Hannah Miller's story, born from a moment of fear and cruelty, blossomed into a testament to resilience, kindness, and the power of standing together. Her journey reminded all who knew it that even the smallest act of courage and protection can transform a life, that support can arrive in the most unexpected forms, and that even the darkest mornings can give rise to extraordinary hope.